Welcome back to the Oorah live laptop and iPod giveaway here in the heart of Brooklyn. We are broadcasting live from Deli 52, where they have a special today, 50% off of all your orders. And for those of you who want to know what's happening to that 50%, they're actually giving it back to Oorah. At the beginning of every hour here, we're going to have interesting guests. You can enter to win Oorah's live auction giveaway. One of the prizes is up to $1 million. And we are lucky enough to have with us Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss, Rosh Kahal of Agudas Yisroel of Staten Island, author of many books, many columns, who came here especially today. And I must tell you, Rabbi Moshe Meir Weiss does not go anywhere on Tuesday. He just told me a few minutes ago, even his wife says she won't have a baby on Tuesday. Tuesday's the one day that's off limits to him, but he was fortunate enough to give Oorah his time, and we thank you for it. And we'd like to thank the Rav for all he's done for Oorah since its inception 30 years ago. And I'm going to hand it over to the Rav, and we'll hear what he has to say.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. And we thank our host, Deli 52, Yaeli Berkowitz, for hosting Oorah. What a zechia. And we thank you for joining us today, or listening and watching this on the web whenever. And I begin with appreciation to Oorah, to Harav Chaim Mintz, and all the wonderful Oorah volunteers. If you are not aware of what Oorah is, Oorah means to awaken. And what Oorah does, and has been doing actually for more than 30 years, I'm involved with Rav Mintz in Oorah for over 40 years. And there was a time that it wasn't even known as Oorah. I remember when it was called Cheshek Shlomo. But what Oorah does is it takes Yiddish neshamas that have not yet found their way to Torah and to mitzvahs, boys and girls that have been going to public school. It awakens them and gives them a Torah life. You hear so much about Oorah and Five-ish and the Oorah auction, but that's all the hype. You want to know what Oorah is? Go to a Purim in Lakewood, see an Oorah child, an Oorah family. What's going on at the zone, at zone 1 and zone 2, where children are introduced to Yiddishkeit, and Oorah carries them through their youth and brings them to adulthood as regular Shomei Torah mitzvahs, and they do this by the thousands. That's what Oorah is collecting the money for, because it's very expensive. It's expensive to make these camps. It's expensive to make the Shabbatons. It's expensive to put up sukkahs. It's expensive to send out Hanukkah packages. It's expensive to send Shmura Matzah. It's expensive to send sometimes a child to Eretz Yisroel when it is needed. It's expensive to maintain operations in schools all over the country and all over the globe. And therefore, first of all, you could call in now at 1-8777-AUCTION or Oorah.org and apply for a chance to win a free laptop. But I will tell you, if you give something to Oorah and you're the winner, you win a free laptop and an iPad. Nobody has done that yet. But I mean, come on, give something to Oorah. What a mitzvah. And if you're the winner, then you get double. Also, please join us for the Oorah Radiothon this Motzei Shabbos. It's a very easy on your radio dial if you're in the car, 770, and if you want to watch it streaming live at Oorah.org, that's OORAH.org, and you could watch it from all over the world just like you're seeing me wherever you are on the globe. Okay, enough chit-chat, let's talk some Torah. As we know, in this week's parsha, there's the remarkable mitzvah of the Hechazakta Boy. The Rambam says that there are many levels of charity, of tzedakah. The highest level is putting somebody back on their feet, that they shouldn't need to be shamed. They shouldn't need to be humiliated. They shouldn't need to be disgraced to ask for and collect charity. So therefore, I'll give you an example. Let me add that the Chofetz Chaim writes that the merit of this mitzvah is so great that if you put somebody back on their feet so that they shouldn't need to have to go around and beg, they shouldn't need to get a letter and knock on your door and go around in shul, that prolongs a person's life, that gives arichas yom. So let's say somebody was doing car service and his car broke, and you get them an old car, right? Before giving it to kids, you get them an old car, and you put them back on their feet. Or let's say somebody is just sitting at home, they lost their job, and they can't pay their rent, and you buy them a lawnmower and tell them go mow lawns. You buy them a snowblower and you tell them go and clean people's snow. And you put them on their feet and you get them money and you get them money. It's arichas yomim. The Chofetz Chaim brings a fabulous proof from a Mishnah, from a Gemara in Bava Basra. It's a famous Gemara that a woman came to Rabbi Yochanan HaTzadik in a time of famine and said, Rabbi, Parnaseini, support me. So Ben Yochanan HaTzadik said, I wish I could, but the coffers are empty. I have no money in the charity. I'm wiped out. I don't have a kopak. I don't have a ruble. I don't have a five-ish. I don't have anything. So she said, Rebbe, if you don't give me money, then this woman and her 7 children will die of hunger. So it says that Rabbi Yochanan HaTzadik got up, and Pirnasa, he supported her from his own money. A little later, Rabbi Yochanan HaTzadik got sick, and Hashem added 22 years to his life because of this charity. So it's interesting, the Chofetz Chaim asks 2 powerful questions. The first thing he says is when she came to ask Ben Yochanan HaTzadik, she came and asked him, Rebbe Parnaseini, support me. Why didn't she say first off, look, I'm a woman with 7 children, help my family? She just said, support me. Then it says afterwards, when he agreed to give from his own money, it says he got up and he supported her. Pirnasa. Why Pirnasa? Why doesn't it say he supported her whole family? Furthermore, the Chofetz Chaim asks, what was the reward of 22 years? So Chofetz Chaim says an amazing answer. Chofetz Chaim says that she came and she said, Rabbi Yochanan HaTzadik, I'm not a lazy woman. I lost my job. Please put me back into business. Give me some money that I could set up a fruit stall. Give me some capital that I should be able to do something, that I should be able to make a parnasa. That's why she didn't say about her 7 children. She just wanted capital. When he said, I can't, she said, look, it's 7 children. So then it says, Amar Pirnasa. He didn't give to the family. He set her up in something. He gave her wool in order to be able to make sweaters. He did something to put her back on her feet. Says the Chofetz Chaim, why did he get 22 years? From the beginning of in this week's parsha of the pasuk of Echzakta by till the end is exactly 22 words. And you put someone on their feet, then you get 22 years. Now, that's true when you give somebody a car, when you give somebody wool, when you give somebody a fruit stall. Now imagine what Oorah does. Here's a boy, here's a girl in public school. They have no Shabbos. They have no Sukkos. They have no brachas. They have no kashrus. They have no Yom Kippur. And what does Oorah do? Started by the great Rav Menschlichkeit and so many wonderful men and women, volunteers. They knock on a person's door. Maybe you want to send your child to yeshiva. That is the greatest v'chazakta boy. That's not the chazakta boy in the physical, material arena, which is great, But that's v'chazakta by in the spiritual arena. All of a sudden you put this young girl or young man on their feet, young boy, young girl on their feet, and now for the rest of their life they have a Shabbos, they have a Kiddush, they have a Sukkah, they have Matzah, they have a Lulav and Esrig. Wow, wow, that's Oorah. That's why you call 18777 auction and part with your hard-earned money. That's why you connect to Oorah.org. Don't wait. Give now. And okay, there's a fringe benefit. There's an auction where you could win amazing things. Trips to who knows where, brachas from who knows who, the greatest of the great. I mean, gift cards and shopping sprees, and it's amazing. But the main thing is the vechazakta boy. The vechazakta boy to take, I see it. I've been with Rav Mintz by weddings of children that were taken out of public school and now married yeshivalite and started yeshivish families. That's, when you hear Oorah, that's the Oorah that you should think of. That's the Oorah that you go to Oorah.org now to get a laptop and an iPod. If you're going already, do the mitzvah. If you win, you get double, a laptop and an iPod. Wow, that's there hasn't been somebody that did that yet. So let's go. Now, I'm going to tell you an interesting story. There was a man who studied for many years to be a doctor. And in the area of Russia, where in order to become a doctor, you have to go to this great guru, this great doctor, and pass a test. After you passed all the written tests and you did your residency, you had to go to this man, and he gave you an exam to see if you were worthy to be a doctor. So this young, serious man went into this guru, and the guru says, tell me, if you come across a patient who receives a wound and he's bleeding, what do you do? So he said, well, you put on this medicine. What if you don't have this medicine? So then he says, you put on this medicine. What if you don't have any medicine? So he says, well, you take a piece of clothing and you burn it and you put the ashes on the wound. He says, what if you don't have a piece of clothing? He never heard such a question before. No medicine, no clothing. So he said to the doctor, I don't know. He said, I'm sorry, young man, you're not ready yet to be a doctor. So the young man was shocked, and he asked this big Rofe, this big doctor, because I didn't know what to do. If you don't have any medicine, you don't have any clothing, I'm not worthy to be a doctor. He said, young man, if you don't have the feeling that if a patient is bleeding in front of you and you don't have a piece of clothing, you don't rip off a piece of your shirt and use it, then you're not ready to be a doctor. You have to have a feeling for your patient that if you don't have the clothing, then you're going to rip off a piece of your shirt to save him. If you don't have that feeling, Oorah, and Rav Mintz always tells me, I always ask Rav Mintz, the Mashgiach Ruchni of the Yeshiva of Staten Island, I always ask him, what message does the Rebbe want me to give on the radiothon? And he says, tell everybody that they should do kiruv, that they should try, somebody in the office, a neighbor, we all could do it. But who is worthy of kiruv? And the thousands of dedicated volunteers of Oorah, the common denominator is that when they see somebody that has not yet been awakened to Yiddishkeit, it bothers them. They want to tear a piece of their clothing to help. This is the organization that you're helping. This is the organization that we ask you not to wait till the hype. 18777 auction, Oorah.org, give to Oorah. You want to be part of the auction? Go for it. But give to Oorah. Help Oorah. They should be able to help one more child, one more boy, one more girl change their life. Now, I want to spend a little time, since we are right before the Yom Tov of Shavuos, and I have this opportunity to speak to such an amazing audience. And as I've been introduced. On Tuesday, I give my flagship shir at Rabbi Landau and Avenue L and East 9th. If you're around, you're welcome to join us at 10 minutes to 10 tonight. And I usually spend the day preparing, and I don't venture anywhere out. But it's very hard to say no to Oorah, the premier organization of Kiruv. We're getting ready for Shavuos. On Shavuos, the Jews made one of the most famous declarations in the history of mankind. The declaration was Na'aseh v'nishma. Unlike all the other nations, when Hashem offered them the Torah, they said, what does it say? So when the Romans were told, thou shalt not kill, they said, that's not for us. When the Arabs were told, thou shalt not commit adultery, not be immoral, no, that's not for us. The Jews didn't ask, what does it say? They said, Hashem, Na'aseh, we'll do, v'nishma, and then we'll listen to what's involved. But Na'aseh, the first thing we said, we're going to do. Now, to the listener, it doesn't sound very responsible. I mean, does that sound responsible? I say, could you do me a favor? So the responsible thing to do is to say, well, tell me what it is. I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I have the time. I don't have to have the money. I mean, how could you agree without hearing what it is? I mean, that sounds foolhardy. And here, 3 million people, 600,000 men from the age of 20 to 60, all said, well, do, without knowing what it is. What's that all about? So the answer is, it's our belief in one of the rules of Yiddishkeit. And that's Eina Kodesh Baruch Hu Bo Betrunya Imbri Yosef. Hashem never asks us more than we can handle. Whatever nisayon, whatever challenge Hashem gives us, it's perfectly calibrated that we can handle it. And therefore, that's the fundamental yesod of Na'aseh v'nishma. Hashem, I don't have to listen, because whatever you give me, I know I can handle. So the families out there that have many daughters, and they're struggling, trying to figure out shidduchim, don't worry. Hashem doesn't give you a test that you can't handle. Somebody says, well, this learning is difficult, how am I going to do it? Don't worry, Hashem gave you a mitzvah, gave us a mitzvah to learn, we can handle it. That's the lesson of Na'aseh v'nishma. But that's only the beginning. Rabbeinu Yoina, the great father of Musar, Rabbeinu Yoina on Pirkei Avos, on the Mishnah of Kol she Maisav Meruba Mechachmasai. If one's deeds are more than his wisdom, Chachmasai Miskayemes. One's wisdom will be kept, will be upheld, will thrive. Rabbeinu Yoina says that there are some people that they learn and they don't succeed. There are people that go to the daf and they say, we're just not getting it, or we don't remember it, or it's just not going, or I can't keep up. There are people in yeshiva that say, I don't know, I'm not getting anywhere with my learning. Rabbeinu Yoina says that in order for a person to succeed in learning, first there has to be tikkun hamidus. First one has to work on one's character. Because if the character is bad, if the neshama is bad, the Torah doesn't stick to it. You know, you take the best wine, right? You take the best wine. You take some everybody likes Asti and Malvasia and the best wine. You put it in a dirty cup, a filthy cup. It's not going to taste good. The Torah, in order to thrive, has to be given to a good neshama. Says Rabbeinu Yoina, that's the meaning of the declaration of Na'aseh v'nishma. Na'aseh means first you have to do. Nishma means listening, means to learn. When we're listening, we're listening to Hashem's Torah, we're listening to the words of Ravina and Rav Ashi, we're listening to the words of the Mishnah, we're listening to the Heilige words of the Nevi'im. But before we can listen, Nasa, we have to make something out of ourselves. You know, a person that comes to the Daf HaYomi and then goes home and screams at his wife, the Daf HaYomi is not going to adhere to him. A yeshiva bacher that goes to yeshiva and then comes home and is an azas ponim, is chutzpahdik to his parents, the Torah is not going to cleave to such a person because it's a dirty neshama. The Torah, you put the best wine in a dirty keli. Here we are in Delhi 52 because they're clean, right? If you're gonna make a good steak sandwich, but the kitchen is dirty, chas v'shalom, it's no good, right? You need to it has to be a clean neshama. If the neshama is clean, then the Torah sticks to it. And you know, it's interesting. Today, we have in the Goyish Welt, when they make productions, they spend millions of dollars on the backdrop, on the set it's called. Millions of dollars. Some productions, hundreds of millions of dollars on the background. Now, let's visualize Matan Torah, the giving of Torah. What was the backdrop of that event? Well, we know there was choshech, darkness, afela, thick blackness, oshan, smoke, right? Thunder. Let me ask you something. Would you make that the backdrop of Har Sinai, the giving of Torah? We know that the giving of Torah is Oorah, is light, right? It says that the Torah is brightness. Kiner mitzvah the Torah Oorah. What would I make the backdrop of Har Sinai? I'd make a huge orb of a sun. I'd make rainbows. I'd make orbs of light. That's Torah. Why darkness? Why blackness? I looked a long time for this question, and I found it. If you have the Schulzinger set of Chumashim in your house, you will see that it can be found in the Tosas Arosh, in the 6th volume of the Schulzinger Chumash. Tosas Arosh says that really the Torah should have been given with light. But because the Jews would sin right afterwards with the Chet HaEgel, with the terrible sin of the golden calf, they lost the Oorah Torah, the light of the Torah. There are many people that grapple. Why is it that I don't get the sweetness of Torah? You know, it says about Torah, one of the reasons why we eat sweet things on Shavuos is because the Torah is mesukim midvash v'noifes sufim. It's sweet like honey and the most incredible beeswax. It's so zi. So somebody says, look, I'm going to the Daf Yomi in Erevin. I'm learning the Mishnah Yomis in Bava Metzia. I'm learning Bahar B'chukaisa. You know, I'm doing it, but I don't find it sweet. It's an effort. It's a sweet. I don't know what's wrong with me. Is something wrong with my taste buds? By some people, that's exactly the way it is. There's something wrong with the taste buds. That's why we say, Arevna Hashem Elokeinu es divrei seirascha b'finu. Help us that it should be sweet in our mouths. Like the Chavetz Chaim says, we don't ask that the Torah should be sweet. The Torah is sweet. Somebody who doesn't have an appetite, he doesn't go to the doctor and say, do me a favor, put something in the food. You don't put something in the food. The food is fine. There's a problem with the mensch. You have to give the person a medicine. Same thing. There are people that Torah is not sweet because they have to work on their character. Now, here I'm broadcasting from Borough Park. Borough Park is also a city that never sleeps. You have in the night so many simchas. And people are loading and unloading the cars. And it's midnight. It's 12:30. I give a late night Daf Yomi in Borough Park. Many times my shift finishes after midnight. In the Svadish Shul on 14th Avenue, you're welcome to come every day of the week to hear a Daf Yomi. We start 10:30. on 14th Avenue between 45th and 46th Street. And I hear sometimes during the shir, more than once, and sometimes more than once a night, people are honking at 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock in the night. You know, let me tell you a story from Rabbi Yossi Zweig, when Rabbi Yossi Zweig passed away, and they don't hold over a mace overnight in Yerushalayim. When Rabbi Yossi Zweig passed away, Rabbi Yossi, they did the hesped in the night. Rabbi Yossi did not allow them to make a eulogy on his wife, on his Rebbetzin. Although she was such a great woman, and there was so much to learn. He was afraid the voice on the microphone would wake up the children and the elderly that are already sleeping. And here people are honking at 11:30 in the night, 12 in the night, 12:30 in the night. We need to work on our Menschlichkeit, to be an ish, to be a naseh, tikkun amidas, and then we have atzlocha to be a nishma. That's the message. Well, somebody wants to know, what should I be mekabel on Shavuos? I should be a mekabel on Shavuos to be a greater mensch, right? To be careful when I'm driving not to text. That's not menschlich. I could hurt somebody besides myself. I have to be careful. I'm in a store. Right? To somebody, I have a full shopping cart. To somebody behind me, a yid or even a guy with only 2 items. I mean, a mensch. The harried clerk who's serving people and on their feet for hours. To realize that. All mensch, tikkun amidas. When we have that tikkun amidas, then we could be a nishma. Then our learning will be successful. And of course, as we represent Oorah, first of all, I want to thank Oorah for allowing me to join this special broadcast. Remember, anytime, that's something about Oorah, it's 24/6. It's 24/6. You could call anytime, whenever you get in the mood, 1-877-7 auction or Oorah.org. And you know, you could do that even if you did it already, but if you're moved, do it more. You know, there are all kinds of ways that you can add to your chances to win a prize at the auction. I hope you'll join me this Motzei Shabbos when I'll be one of the hosts of this year's Radiothon at 7:70 a.m. or streaming live at Oorah.org. And now I believe we have the opportunity to draw this hour's laptop winner. Winner number 5. Thank you very much. And the winner is, again, not both, a choice of an iPod or a laptop. Marty Winston. Wow, it's the 4th winner in a row from Eretz Yisroel. What is this trying to tell us? I don't know, but from Ramat Beit Shemesh, Israel, Marty Winston, congratulations. Thank you for listening, and please stay tuned. Marvelous speakers are yet, I saw that they have yet on the roster, Rabbi Goldwasser and many other exciting speakers throughout the night. Another special Oorah presentation. I hope to see you all on the radio this Motzei Shabbos. Join us as we go from 10 to 4 in the morning. And may we all be zeicha to be mekabel the Torah ba'ava, and may we all in the schus of our working on our midas and Torah be blessed with good health, long life, and everything wonderful.
Amen. Thank you very much, Rabbi Weiss. Next up, on the next hour, we have Rabbi Elfim coming from the OU. And it'll be 5-ish at 5 o'clock. Don't forget, head over to Oorah.org for your chance to win a laptop, or, of course, more of our fabulous prizes, like Rabbi Weiss said. This Motzei Shabbos will be the live action drawing. Till the top of next hour, enjoy this video, and check out Oorah.org for your chance to win.